Oh, you're actually going to do it from your phone.
I'm doing it from my phone. We
All
are,
right.
hopefully we are back. It says we are live. All right, hopefully people are popping in. I don't know if I can't tell on the phone, but we're just going to keep going because
Okay.
it says that we are live.
All right.
So, sorry about that. If you're watching, we had some internet issues. It's never fun. So you were talking about the leadership, favorite part of your job, and the people, the hospitality, which I know as a restaurant patron, you always like when the person who's running the business is walking around and talking to people and making sure they're enjoying it.
It's a lot of work, but the people part is the enjoyable part. So we try to encourage our managers to do as much of that as possible.
And you can't be here all the time.
Cannot be.
So what do you look for in an employee?
Well, honestly, we just hire good people. We can teach people a lot of the restaurant business, but it's really hard to teach someone to be nice.
Yes.
To teach someone to care, to have pride. Those are things you can't really teach. So we really hire for the type of person, and we've hired a lot of people that we've promoted from within. So a lot of our management core are people that started as something maybe busboy or host or a prep cook, dishwasher, and worked their way up to chef or general manager.
Yeah, so that's nice that it says that you want to people want to be here, people want to keep staying with your company.
We try to help develop them, try to help take a job and make it a career.
Right. Now, what I was going to say to you.
Yes.
My mother, Judy, a fan favorite on Brace Yourself, by the way. She's very popular. I don't know if you're going to get as many views as she does. But she wanted me to personally thank you for opening up quality restaurants on the South Shore, specifically Suffolk County.
Well, we're thankful to do it. We're happy to do it.
She is always like, you can't go, there's nothing on the South Shore, nothing. So, when you guys started opening restaurants on the South Shore, you made my mother very happy.
Great.
I know that was that was your intent.
Of course, make your mom happy. Everyone's mom needs to be happy.
Of course, everybody does. So, all right, so let's talk about the food here, please. My favorite thing is the ricotta and the bread that you put on the table. That is, who came up with that? Where did that come from? That is amazing.
I mean, it's mostly from experiences we have in other restaurants, and then we try to take those as inspirations to come up with a creative idea. But it's not just the ability to come up with a great idea. You have to do it in a way that you can make sure you can execute it on a consistent basis, so that every time you come, it's relatively the same.
Well, it's great, and my kids have told me I have to start trying to make it.
So your favorite thing is the free thing on the menu?
No.
Oh, great.
No.
Sounds like a great business plan.
That is my favorite thing when you get here, because usually it's just bread and, No. There's so many things. The risotto is a family favorite of my family. And the Brussels sprouts, when you put those on the menu permanently, really made my day. Really, those things are like candy.
Yeah, they are.
Keep eating them.
And you look like you're eating healthy at the same time, see?
Exactly. Yeah. It's all an illusion. What is your favorite item on the menu?
Oh, I don't have one. I mean, it changes week to week, month to month. It's like seeing which restaurant is my favorite. It changes. One day it's this one day it's that one. I like a little bit of the tried and true stuff, so I'm okay with, some, penne al vodka or some carbonara or the pork chop milanese, some pretty basic stuff as far as Italian food goes.
Right.
That are tried and true. And when I want Italian food, I often equate it to comfort food. I want to feel good.
Yes. So, yes, definitely. Yeah. The DCRP would like to formally apologize for the 2017 holiday party brunch debacle.
Blame it on the Bellinis.
Thank you, Chris. Yes, blame it on the Bellinis. That was a fun party. I was here for that.
Oh, you were?
It
Okay.
was. Yeah, somebody, one of your managers came up to me and he said, "What's going? I need to talk to you." And I went, "I just joined the group. I don't know what's going on. I'm new at this." So, your chefs, how do you choose your chef when you're looking for someone in any of your restaurants?
A lot of our chefs, we have a mixture. Half of them are promoted from within and half of them we hire from outside of the company. But mostly we want to find people that can balance both the art and the science of cooking. There's a lot of people out there that are great cooks, which means they can make a great meal for you or for me, but they need to be able to make consistently great meals for 150 people a night, sometimes 300 people a night.
Yes.
They need to adhere to recipes. They have to keep standards. They have to keep the discipline to it's a nickel and dime business, so you got to be able to, in a restaurant, you want the food to be fresh, so you want it to come as, you want to order when you get deliveries only what you need to serve what you have, so you get new stuff on a regular basis, and that takes a lot of organization, a lot of understanding of numbers, a lot of discipline, but you also need the creativity, the joy of using fresh ingredients, using local ingredients. So it's a combination of both. There's a lot of people that can do one or the other, but not many that can do both.
Do you give them a lot of creative license and a lot of room to come up with ideas, or is it pretty set?
Depends on what you're talking about. On weekend specials, they have pretty much free reign to run what they like. As far as anything that goes on the menu, that goes through a pretty extensive approval process before we put something new on the menu. There's a few items every year, every season we change based on the availability of ingredients, but mostly it's, we try to give the chefs some outlets. Some of our menus have things like a market fish or a market salad, so they can come up with a different fish every week, depending on whatever's running that time, and put that on the menu. But creativity is important, but it is consistency that's most important. When you come to Verace, you probably have some dishes that you like besides the ricotta and the cheese that you would like to eat.
Right, I'm just being honest, Michael.
But the most important thing is every time you come, that dish has to taste the way it did last time. And if you come in and you bring a friend and you say you have to try the penne alla vodka is amazing, and they try the penne, they go, this isn't that good, you feel like an idiot because you recommended it. So it's very important for us to have consistency. And in order for a chef to be successful in our group, they have to be okay with having consistency as the stalwart of the foundation of what we build our kitchens around.
Well, they do a great job, and I was wondering, I love the open kitchen downstairs, because you sort of hear and see everything going on. I love that it's not a kind of a hush-hush atmosphere where you're whispering at the table. It doesn't seem like any of your restaurants are, though. They're very lively and very a lot of fun.
We get complaints from time to time that the restaurant is loud, and my main response to that is that I understand that we may be looking for a quiet place, but that's not where we are. We want to have restaurants where people feel comfortable laughing out loud without people staring at them. So whether you're dining at Teller's or Prime, or whether you're dining at Pizza Parm, anywhere on that spectrum, you should be able to have a really good time. And
that is definitely what happens. So many people are making comments about being hungry. My daughter is watching. She loves the risotto. That's one of her favorites. They have that every time they're here.
Great.
I was actually going to. I told them after. I said, "Well, why don't you meet me, and we'll have dinner?" And they're like, "Oh, tonight you had to say that?" They're like, "What about tomorrow?" I'm like, "Nope, it's only a Thursday night offer, because nobody's reaching in their pockets, when you're out with mom. It's just all about mom."
Isn't that the deal?
Apparently.
Yeah. Okay.
So I did ask you. I talked about the South Shore and everything. So how do you decide where you're going to put a restaurant?
Oh, it's not some.
It isn't?
No, it's mostly opportunity.
Okay.
We find a place that falls in our lap, and we fall in love with it, and we try to figure out what we'd like to do there. It's a little bit of the tail wagging the dog, but that's really, we're not a big multinational conglomerate that has a team of people scouting locations. So it's when somebody brings something to us that we find has value, then we pursue it.
Okay. So it's not just any place, though. You do have
of course.
You're not going to open up on the corner of Union
We need parking, you need demographics, you need traffic flow, you need enough seating. The place has to be large enough. Really, a lot of restaurants are, because of our, now that we have 9 locations and we have a little bit of a corporate structure, we need a larger location to kind of support all the infrastructure we need.
Right. Well, that is, I'm so sorry that this is, so, okay, so you have all of these high-end restaurants, right? All these great places. What made you decide to go Pizza Parm?
Well, I would say, believe it or not, the most important factor is my niece loves pizza. So,
okay.
She was looking for us to open a pizza place so she could eat pizza. That's her favorite food. And so we played off of that and came up with the concept to open Pizza Parm based on the fact that we own the location next door already.
Now, that was one thing I was wondering. You kind of have 2 restaurants, now 3, sort of in competition with each other.
Well, no? We don't look at it that way. There's a little bit of competition, but there's a lot of synergy. You can share employees, share products, share ideas. You'll also be able to help each other out next door to each other. And a lot of times people have there's quite a few people that come to Teller's for dinner and they come to Verace for dessert, or vice versa. Or they come to Verace for a drink and they go to Teller's for dinner, or go to Teller's for a drink and then come here. So we're able to
I've done all of those combinations, by the way.
So we try to look at the positives based on that. And the benefit of having restaurants close to each other is they're easier to manage. In order to have, if you have multiple tellers, they have to be far apart. They'll really compete against each other, which means you spend a lot more time in the car. Here we have East Islip, H2O, Tellers,
Close.
Pizza Parma, Verace, Monsoon, all within a little close to each other. It gives us an opportunity to manage all of them, to kind of
And it gives the people in the towns a chance to have different foods and different things.
And if they like what we do, they usually like the concepts.
And I will tell you about because I'm going to tell you something else now, and you're going to go, again, the free thing on the menu, but the chips at the bar Tellers.
Yeah, they're good.
All right,
They're very
are good.
addictive.
But I think when you do things like that, even the bread and the ricotta and everything, it kind of draws you in. You know, if something that they're going to just put on the table and give you is that good, then what must the food be like?
We do a Gruyere cheese popover at H2O, which with some warm butter that people, oh, Sheila's nodding her head over. And so it's the kind of thing that every time I go there, I don't want to have because it's a lot of bread. And then I say, let me try it for quality control. Like last night I was in Smithtown. I said, let me try one bite just to make sure it's good. And the next thing I know, I'm flagging down the server to get this off of the table. I'm about to finish the whole thing.
Yeah, I could imagine that would be difficult,
Well, I do a lot of eating in our restaurants, so therefore I have to go to the gym a lot as well.
Yes.
I don't go nearly as often as I should, I'll tell you that much.
Well, who does, really? Let's be honest, okay? I mean, now, are you Italian?
No, I am not.
You're not Italian,
No.
and yet you have this great Italian restaurant.
There's lots of people that own all kinds of restaurants that don't necessarily have that nationality. We opened this restaurant with a chef from Italy, actually. Francesco Torre was.
Oh, have you been to Italy?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
I went for the first time a couple of years
yeah?
ago. Yeah, I need to go back.
Oh, yeah.
But, all right, so I have a question, kind
Go
of
ahead.
a funny question. Because everybody I told when I was doing this interview, they were like, oh my God, really? That's amazing. And I went, not Bolton, Bohlsen.
Yes.
So, do you ever wonder?
I know Frank. No, not Michael Bolton. I thought you meant Frank Bolton.
No, they thought Michael Bolton.
Oh, no.
They
No,
thought
no.
Michael Bolton. Do you ever be like, oh God, she had to name me Michael, and because it's Michael Bohlsen, and when you say
that
it,
meant something in 1987, but since then,
now, but
it's kind of that ship kind of sailed. Yeah.
you're still working.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
not.
I don't know what he's doing, but good for him.
I don't know what he's doing either. But
I thought you meant Frank Bolton that owns the
no.
Ducks in town.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah.
No, just
He's a good customer
Michael
of ours
Bolton,
and a friend
because
of ours.
Michael Bohlsen. Anyway, I thought it was funny. I may be the only one. I don't know. What do you guys think? So it's Verace 10-year anniversary.
Yeah.
In 10 years, how has this restaurant changed, do you think?
Oh, it's a lot of ways it stayed the same, and a lot of ways it changes. I mean, we mostly follow the taste of our guests. You know, we still keep really true to the original principles, which is to open a restaurant that has a minimal impact on the environment, and try to, when we do dishes, even if they're Italian-American dishes, try to stay true to the quality of the ingredients and the kind of the truth in recipe. Mostly what we try to do is we have a lot of the same people here, so we keep people for a long time. We try to really infuse that hospitality, that Italian hospitality, into what we do every day.
So what's ahead for this establishment?
For this one here?
Yeah. I'm hoping another 20, 30 years.
I hope so too.
Come on.
Yeah, we just hit 20 years at Tellers. We'll hit 20 years at H2O next year. One day at a time. In the restaurant business, it's hard to get ahead of yourself because the landscape changes so quickly. Labor laws and people's buying habits and whatnot. So we work hard at delivering a good product every day on a consistent basis, and that's really what we try to do.
Well, I think your reputation speaks for itself.
Thank you
that
very
20
much.
years at Tellers and coming up on that for H2O. I did not know H2O was around for 20 years. Maybe because it was in
2001.
Smithtown, which is far away from me.
Yes.
So,
Around the corner.
I like to draw. I like to be local. So it's great. I have a lot of choices. What have you learned, not only about business, okay, because you know a lot about this. If anybody was going to go into the restaurant business, I'd say, yeah, go talk to this guy. He knows it. But what have you learned about yourself over the years as a businessman, as an employer?
I mean, you learn a lot about yourself every day. I mean, I learn something every day. Really, what I learned most about is about myself is trying to set clear expectations for people, give them the tools to get it done, but also holding them accountable, and being able to be honest with people without them feeling like you're being overly critical. To give constructive criticism or valid, honest criticism without them feeling that you're picking on them. But also being able to point out the positives as well as the negatives. This is you get beat up in this business. You may do 300 dinners tonight, and you'll remember the 4 people that were unhappy, not the 296 that were ecstatic.
No,
But that's how it goes. So you have to have thick skin.
And apparently what you do have is excellent leadership qualities as well, because a lot of the things that you're saying are not always evident in business across the board, but especially in
Well, I'm sure if you ask some of our employees, they may not say that I do all of those things all the time, but I try my best.
well, nobody's 100% all the time, right? I mean,
I'm shooting for 50%, but yeah, okay.
you're probably doing real well.
No, we're lucky. We have really good people, and that's really where the day starts and the day ends.
So are there any, will there be any new restaurants coming, like different
I
types?
tell you, but I'd have to kill you.
That's always the way. That's always the way. It's no, I won't ask that question then. So what would you say to someone, and this is kind of a cliche question, but there are people out there, there are kids out there who are thinking, I'm gonna, I worked for somebody once. I waitressed when I was younger, and he was like, I'm just gonna open a restaurant, and it was a dismal failure.
That's what most of them are.
Right.
Yeah.
So what would you tell that person who says, I want to open a restaurant?
First of all, if you have not been in the restaurant business for an extended period of time, I would say take that money and go spend it in restaurants instead of spending it opening one. Unless you have a really talented partner who just needs money to open a restaurant. But partnerships are very difficult. The restaurant business is a very public expression of your taste, the things you like, the music, the decor, the uniforms, the food, the drinks, the wine list, all the things that you think are great. So when someone comes in and says, I don't like your restaurant, it's a little bit different than someone saying, I don't like your car wash. You don't take that so personally. Someone comes in and says, I don't like your restaurant.
That's you.
They say they don't like you, right? So I think that's what a lot of people aren't prepared for when they open restaurants. They think that they don't really realize that they're going to design and build a restaurant in their likeness and what they think is important. And people turn around and say they don't like it, and it's very hard for people to take. So
I would
say if you want to be in the restaurant business, I would work in restaurants for a long time and learn as you go. Before it takes a lot of capital to open a restaurant, and one of the problems is to open a decent-sized restaurant takes a lot of money, which means you need partners. The partners don't always understand that it takes a long time to make money in restaurants, and restaurants make very low return. So that usually what ends most restaurants.
Yes, I would agree with that, because they're popping up and going down and popping up all over the place all the time, and you wonder
Everyone
what
thinks
happened.
it's so easy.
Yes, well, everybody always thinks it's easy what they don't do. I just had a question in my head, and you were talking about. I read that you said food first. Mm-hmm. Booze second? Or was it
Well, our
booze
restaurants
third?
are always. We always think of our restaurants as restaurants first, bars second, and catering facilities or event spaces third. So that we don't make one. We try to make sure we book everything for our regular guests first. Now that being said, that has changed over time, because people are more willing to buy out an entire restaurant for a night to do a private function, which would usurp the food, the restaurant end of it. But food is always first. But it's really a matter of what we try to identify ourselves at, because if the bar starts encroaching on the restaurant, then you become more of a bar than a restaurant, and that's more difficult. Not the kind of business we're in. So we try to manage a lively bar. You want a lively bar. You walk into Teller's, you want that bar to be hopping. It feels great to be in a busy bar, but you're really there to eat too. Everyone at that bar is eating.
Yes, they are, and it is a busy bar.
Yeah.
Very busy.
Yeah.
So you're in business with your brother, and you're the creative guy.
Well, we
he's
both are. We both work. Well, these are both expressions. These are expressions of both of our.
Right, but I read he takes care of more of the business end of it.
Well, we also have a lot of real estate too, so he
Right.
manages that too. He's got a lot of skills in those areas.
And you're just
I'm just here talking to you.
just here talking to me, which I appreciate, because I know that you are very busy, and I do really appreciate it. We did have some technical difficulties, but this is my new little. Well, this is my passion.
Good.
Any type of entertaining, but this is my new little baby that I'm trying to nurse to life. So
Well, I wish you the best of luck.
I really appreciate you for taking the time out, and I hope you can catch some episodes. I'm going to put this up on YouTube, and people will watch it again. And thank you for everybody who joined us, and thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure.
It was a pleasure to meet you.
All right.
All
Take
right.
care. All right. I got